Hello, it's Jamming Jack 99, and today I'm doing a Planet Zoo speed build. It's been a while since I've uploaded on this channel, or well, I've uploaded but not a full video. And that's because I forgot I had a YouTube channel. So here I'm just doing some rock work. I already have the path set up, so I'm kind of just making the path raised on like a cliff almost. Is kind of the goal here. And this is in my tropical franchise zoo, which I've been working on for a long time. I haven't made any videos on it, but this is the first one, and I might do more, but I did want to just make a speed build. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. So this is a really big zoo. I'll do a tour of it once it's done, but at least you could see the building of one habitat, and you can see some other ones in the background, and you'll see some more later in the video when I go around the zoo a little bit to do some other tasks that distract me during the speed build. But here I'm just doing some more rock work, filling in the gaps with those little rocks there, and I'm just trying to fill in these two big open areas where there's no path and it's just a big hole, because we don't want it to be a big hole. So yeah, if you look in the background during some of these shots, you can be able to see the cassowaries or the flamingos and peacocks. There's not really anything interesting over in this section of the zoo, which it's in the back of the zoo, so it should be, but you know, there's giant otters, but you can't see them from here. So that's probably the only interesting thing. So here I was like trying to fit in this chunk into there, but it just wasn't working, so I'm just trying different things to just make my life a little bit easier in doing all that rock work, because it took forever to do that first side, so I didn't really want to do all that work again, but I do basically end up doing that anyway. But this one does go a little bit faster because I kind of got a bit into the more flow of doing this rock work. These are the aquatic rocks, which I actually just got the aquatic pack recently, and I'm just loving these rocks. I've used them in every habitat since I've gotten the aquatic pack, and they are just so great. So now I'm just doing a little bit of extra detailing on the rocks, making them a little bit less boring. And now I'm trying to use some fences here, trying the Australia fence, but ultimately I decide against it because I just don't really like how that's looking. So I just remove the Australia fences and get to do some more rock work, making the outline for the habitat. So for most of my habitats, I usually don't like to use actual barriers. I usually just use null barriers and use a lot of rocks. Throughout this zoo, almost every habitat is outlined in rocks. I just think that looks really good, especially for tropical zoos, and I just wanted this zoo to feel a lot like you're out in the jungle. And you can see I'm just copying that one rock form and then editing it a little bit, because this is a pretty big habitat for my standards, and I didn't want to do all of those rocks, but I do make them a little bit more customized so you can't actually tell that it's just a big duplicated chunks. So here I'm trying to think of another way to put barriers basically on the edge of the path so guests don't fall in, and I tried to use glass, but you'll see that doesn't really work out. When I try to lift it up, yeah, this doesn't work out. So I look at other fences, and then I settle on using that fence, which is a really nice fence that I've used multiple times. And this part took quite a while to get the fences perfect, but I think it really added a lot to the exhibit, and I'm really happy that I did get those fences to line up properly. You can just see me fiddling with this one fence for quite a while, until I eventually get something I'm happy with, and then just curving that around. So the point of this zoo, when I made it, I wanted to use some of the Southeast Asia animals, because I had just gotten that pack, so that's why I'm making Clouded Leopard habitat, but it's almost turned into whatever the newest DLC that I bought is, that's what's going in the zoo, and I'm not even planning on using all the Southeast Asia animals. I'm not going to use a lot of them actually, but right here I am getting the staff path over so I can get in a keeper door, because if you didn't know, staff paths, the staff will just walk through the rocks, but you do have to have rocks not blocking the door on the habitat side, so that the staff or the keeper can actually get into the habitat and edit stuff. So here I'm adopting my Clouded Leopards, because usually I like to make the outline of the habitat, and then I like to edit it, and this is me going to my iguana because it died and just getting a new one. So getting those into the zoo, and then I'm just using them to kind of make the habitat beside the plants. Putting some bamboo in the ground to work as bushes, which is one of my favorite techniques. And yeah, the plants of this one, I'm honestly not too happy with them. I couldn't really find something I liked, because I feel like there's a lot of open space, and with these builds it's kind of hard to put plants in the middle, especially in this one where you're raised up without not being able to see, because the trees are just like at the perfect level to block the guest's view for these paths. So I just kind of messed around with plants. I got something I am pretty happy with like that cherry blossom grove over there and all the colors. And then I need to make some hard shelter, so I kind of dug out this cave here and moved barriers, did some more rock work. It was really hard to do this rock work because in such a confined space, but it did work to give them just enough hard shelter to not be super angry with me. They were a little angry, but not too angry that it got their not too angry that it got their welfare down. That's the word I'm looking for. Could not think of that. So yeah, that's a lot of the habitats in the zoo are like that. I really like doing smaller habitats rather than big habitats, so you can actually see the animals. Now in real life, I'd be the opposite. In real life I want all the animals to have big habitats, but in Planet Zoo, I like to see my animals, so I always have them a little bit on the small side. Yeah, so I'm just doing some enrichment here. And trying to get in a little bit of extra climbing because the trees just weren't enough. I do like to do the natural climbing, as you can see I'm doing there. And yeah, it got up to the orange and I was happy with that. So now I'm just doing education boards, it looks like, and education speakers to get some education. I didn't make custom like things to put the education boards in for this habitat because just didn't feel like it fit. That's been something I've been doing more recently. Most of the habitats in the beginning of the zoo just have regular education boards, but a lot of the newer ones I've made like little places to put them in. Same thing with donation bins. Added some nice benches for the guests to sit, and then I wanted to decorate these a little bit, so I started doing some plants. Cherry blossom on one side and the elm, I think it's called, on the other side. I'm not completely sure. And yeah, just doing a bit of plants around and then putting a Clouded Leopard. Thought about putting another one, but then I decided not to. Then I try to do some mist. That's me trying to get at the perfect level so it's not too much mist. Placing those around. That's me going into the peafowl habitat because they weren't getting fed for some reason. And then going back to trying to figure out the mist till I finally get something I like and start misting. If you're wondering why there's a protester, it's because the keepers weren't feeding the peafowls. There's nothing too bad. And I also put some mist on the display with the Clouded Leopard. And you can see that one jumped out, so I had to move some of the trees around to stop the escapes. And then I'm just putting some trees in the back to wind everything off. So yeah, that's it. Goodbye.